Diapers on a plane.
My favorite thing to eat in Boston was no doubt chicken and rice, guys. I would eat that every day for the rest of my life.
My favorite thing was the Cookie Monster. My favorite thing was the Cookie Monster. Bye-bye.
My totes favorite thing to eat in Boston are actually two things. It was the cannolis from Mike's and Modern Bakeries. Both of them had cannolis. Both of them were fantastic, and we compared them. It was awesome.
My favorite thing I ate in Boston was Maine Fish Company. It tasted really good because it had lobster, and lobster is one of my favorite fish to eat. And it just tasted really good. My favorite thing to eat in Boston was a bakery called Sweets. And they just have plain old cupcakes with sprinkles on them and frosting. Some of the frosting were different colors. They might be plain, but they were delicious. Are you ready to learn all about the best foods we ate in Boston?
Okay, welcome to episode number 8 of the Diapers on a Plane podcast. We hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday afternoon or whenever you are listening to this. But before we get started, a little housekeeping. We'd like to say to all you mothers out there, Happy Mother's Day, because Mother's Day just happened this last Sunday. And Catherine's a mother, I think.
I'm wearing my sweet shirt I just got from Peach Marketplace. Definitely go check them out. They're one of my favorite clothing companies. They're based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but they ship all over. And they have great designs and super fun ones, just like this Mama Bear shirt that I am wearing for Mother's Day. Definitely give them some love.
Yeah. So it says Mama, and it's a picture of a bear. It's Mama Bear. Right.
All right, so this week we're going to be talking about all the food that we loved to eat in Boston. And let me tell you, there was a lot of really great food in Boston, from lobster rolls to ice cream to halal food. And we tried to eat as much of it as possible, and we loved all of it.
Loved it, some more than others, but full disclosure, we didn't eat everywhere. So this is kind of just a big shout out of everywhere we did eat.
Yes. All right, so one of the last places we ate in Boston, but was definitely at the very, very top of our list, was the Boston, Maine Fish Company. Whitmore talked about it in his intro, and they had not only hot lobster rolls, but they also had fresh clam chowder sold in bread bowls. And let me tell you, it was one of our favorite places to eat.
So lobster rolls are one of those things you have to have. It's quintessential to Boston, and the hot lobster roll that we had.
Well, is it a lobster roll or a lobster?
Lobster.
Lobster.
And this one was everything I had hoped and dreamed in the lobster roll. It was buttery. It was hot. It melted in your mouth. It was
and the lobster was and it was these thick pieces of it.
It was so good. The clam chowder bowls we got were pretty phenomenal too. Just all around, just amazing.
And so the Lobster Maine Company is located at Quincy Market or Faneuil Hall, and that's along the Freedom Trail. So you can get that, it's down there centrally located, but you can get it on your Freedom Trail walk, or you can get it another time. It's really centrally located, so it's definitely convenient.
Highly recommend it. There's a lot of restaurants in that Faneuil Hall area where that one is located. Definitely stop off. You can listen to the colorful piano. But it wasn't the first lobster roll we had while we were in Boston.
No, definitely the best, and not to be marred by our poor experience with the lobster roll, but we also had a cold lobster roll at a place called Bennett's, which is near the Museum of Fine Arts.
Yep. And so lobster rolls aren't the cheapest sandwich you can buy in Boston, and so we were pretty disappointed by the cold lobster roll at Bennett's, and it nearly ruined lobster rolls for us. We almost didn't try it again.
Yeah, we were just like, this is what people are talking about when they're talking about the lobster rolls from Boston.
Yeah, which is like more expensive per ounce than gold, I think.
Yeah, I mean, why does anybody care about lobster rolls when they're cold and dry and not good?
So Bennett's is pretty highly rated on Yelp too. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we hit them on a bad day. Maybe it was day old lobster. I don't know, but it wasn't the best thing I've ever eaten.
I just don't think it was meant to be like cold and lobster. I mean, I guess some people like it.
Hot and butter.
Yeah, just definitely not our cup of tea. And
that's our game.
And lobster may not be like a very. Can you even get lobster in Oregon? Is there lobster on the?
No, they're all about crab in Oregon.
Yeah, so I mean, we're from Oregon, where we would go crabbing on the coast, and we're used to, seafood, hot, buttery, dipped in melted butter, and that's kind of how we want our lobster too.
Sorry, Bennett's.
Yeah, one thing we will say about Bennett's though is it is a great stop. They have other type of sub sandwiches. Maybe just not get the cold lobster subs. But they do have other sandwiches, and they're very close to the Museum of Fine Arts. So if you're gonna check out that museum, it's not a bad stop. The lobster rolls weren't our favorite, and they were super friendly, and they did end up giving our little kids free treats on the way out, which is always fun. The kids remember it; they love it, and
yeah. So they're good things.
Yeah.
So next on our list, on top of our list, is actually not one place but two places, because you kind of, I don't know, our impression is you have to eat them at the same time, which is Mike's Pastry versus Modern Pastry, and that's on the Freedom Trail in the North End.
Near Paul Revere's house.
Yes.
So right around the corner.
And it's famous, and there's been a rivalry between these two pastry shops for, I don't know, probably since they've been opened.
Yeah, decades.
Which one makes the best cannoli? So
Yeah.
we put that to the test, and we made it with the kids. It was super fun. We did a YouTube video, and we each taste tested the cannolis from the two different bake shops and gave our impression of which ones we thought were the best. And they were both really good, first of all.
Yeah, so on the street, you've got Mike's on the left side. If you're heading down the Freedom Trail, you've got Modern on the right. And you can just go grab them from both, and you can just compare them side by side. So that's what we did. There's more seating at Mike's. We felt like Mike's was more homey and more friendly and more family orientated, whereas Modern seemed a little bit stuffy. It was darker in there. But at the end of it, we definitely are in camp.
Mike's Pastry. I think it was unanimous. Our whole family preferred the cannolis at Mike's Pastries. They were so good. They put a little string on the box. It's so awesome.
So it's not just the cannoli you're supposed to compare. It's also the Boston cream pie.
Oh, that's right.
Technically, one has a pie, one has a cupcake. So they're definitely different, whereas the cannolis are much more like identical, but they have their own twist on them. The other ones are really two separate pastries. But you still have to compare them both.
So I can't remember. So Modern had the
Modern had the cupcake, yeah,
and Mike's had the traditional Boston pie. And which one did we prefer?
So for that one, I actually preferred the cupcake.
That's right.
Even though it wasn't really a pie, so I feel like that doesn't really count.
I'm pretty sure I preferred the traditional, but they were both phenomenal. Yeah. Right, you can't go wrong with either one, but it's super fun to compare the two.
Modern also has this giant cream puff that I really wanted, but we had gotten extra treats at Mike's, like a chocolate cake and a chocolate peanut butter brownie. So we were like, at some point we had to stop.
So we are definitely Team Mike's.
Yes, Team Mike's all the way. And we actually got this idea from a couple men that I sat next to on the plane ride down, and they were young business entrepreneurs, and they were from there, and they were going to school in Vegas, I think, where we got on the flight, and they were telling us all about these fun things to do, and that was one of the top things to do, and we're definitely glad we did it. It was one of our funnest activities.
Yep. So the next stop was at the Boston Public Market, which is pretty close to Quincy Market and Faneuil Hall, as I recall, right?
I don't remember. I just remember it was really central to where we were, and it was easy to get to.
Yeah.
So, and we went to the public market. There was so much to eat at the public market.
We went there a couple different times. But one of the places we went to was the Beantown Pastrami Company. They had their homemade pastrami's. It was local. So Boston Public Market too. It's all local shops, and so it's nice because they most of them have placards. So if they don't make the food themselves, they show where it came from. we're talking about the pastrami place because it was really good, their homemade pastrami. But there was also like a fish market in the back of the store, and they would tell you which shipping boat your fish came from, and all from local fisheries. Is it fisheries? Is that the right word?
I don't know.
Fishermen?
Yeah.
Fisher people, I guess is the
Correct, accurate.
Yes. Fishing persons. Yeah, so Boston Market, Beantown pastrami, I don't think I have a huge description other than it was just delicious, thick pastrami.
I remember I got you the wrong sandwich. So you were manning the kids at the table, getting a table because there's not a ton of seating. You kind of have to grab what you can get. It also depends on the time of day because it's such a busy place. But I remember I was supposed to order, and you were with the kids, and I think I didn't get you the pastrami. I got you something with, oh man, it's like on the tip of my tongue. It's,
I could remember.
I know, but it was the wrong thing. So you never actually got to try the pastrami that Beantown pastrami is known for, but you got to try something that you said was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah. And I remember that great bread, and it was toasted perfectly, which is always like a big thing.
So my take on that Boston Public Market's right downtown. So I think it's a really hot lunch spot for all the business workers, people who work downtown. Plus
And there's
all the tourists.
such a wide variety of different types of places that you can eat. So it's one of our favorite places that we got to go. So one of the other places you can eat at Boston Public Market is a place called Crescent Ridge Ice Cream. And they own a little farm just 22 miles out of Boston. And they filter their milk for their ice cream with extra cream. So you've got the cream component and the milk with extra cream component. And it makes one of the best ice cream flavors we have ever tasted.
Yep. And the patrons there were super friendly. And what impressed me the most was not only was their ice cream good, but when we posted pictures of them on Instagram, they replied back, and they were awesome.
They were fun. They were super fun. And I remember we got a flavor called, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a pretzel sea salt caramel. And it reminded me of those snappers that you can get at Costco. Have you guys had those? I just thought it was so good. And then the kids got cotton candy, or Pie did. And I remember it had that burnt flavor that you get when you get cotton candy, like that melted sugar flavor. I just was so impressed. I have no idea how they did it, and it was
and Catherine
just so
loved
good.
it so much that I think we had to go out of our way the next day to go back so she could try some flavors she didn't.
Well, he wanted to share ice cream the first day, right? So we had this amazing ice cream, but we had to share it. I didn't want to share it.
Unacceptable.
So, yes, we did. And I don't think we went out of our way because I remember it was right at our stop for the subway that we got on every day.
We totally went out of it. It was like probably 2 stops down and like and 2 hours walk.
Yeah.
So I'd have the ice cream.
Yeah, take off the extra zeros on that. So. All right, so back to Chicken and Rice Guys. I mentioned this in my intro. We found Chicken and Rice Guys one day on the Freedom Trail. It was when we were along the stop for the old bookstore that Gabe thought was a Subway. I thought was a Walgreens. If you watched our podcast on YouTube last week, it was a
Chipotle.
Chipotle. So
I was
technically Gabe was more
technically
right.
I was right because if you think about it, a tortilla is bread and it's wrapped around meat. It's a sandwich.
Well, we'll give it to you.
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
So Chicken and Rice Guys, when someone does something right, they really do it right.
Oh my heavens. There ended up being another Chicken and Rice Guys right by our hotel, and I'm not going to lie and say that we didn't eat here whenever we were hungry.
So simple,
Yeah.
and it was so good. They put this white cucumber
white
sauce.
garlic cucumber ranch. I don't know what it is, but man, just like squeeze it out, and they have a ton of it on the shelf. Don't be shy about getting a bunch of it.
The menu is super simple, so they have chicken and rice, and they also have lamb. So technically, it should be chicken and lamb and rice, guys. But I think it's that the chicken and rice, man.
They started out as a food court. You know, you can only
Food
write
truck.
so much on food truck. You can only write so much on a food truck. Went with chicken. Ended up with lamb. It was great.
You can also get hummus there, and then they have
Yeah.
some fresh squeezed juices.
Yeah.
But that is like one of our favorite places ever.
It was so good. And they have fun little witty sayings like poultry in motion.
so funny.
Yeah, the chicken is right. Or something like that. Yeah.
Check
so
out our review
Yeah.
on Diapers on a Plane. You'll like it.
It's excellent. So, Pi talked about Sweet Bakery. You know what? She loves cupcakes.
Yes.
Bless her heart.
I don't remember the place.
They weren't very good.
Oh no, I do remember the place.
Well, we were going to get a
We got all
Clara
those
birthday
we got all
party.
those colorful cupcakes.
Yeah.
And we were like,
And it's also on the food trail. It's also right by Chicken and Food Guys and the old bookstore. So the thing about Sweet Bakery is that we were trying to find Eclair a birthday cake because we were celebrating her birthday in Boston, Massachusetts, and we wanted, to get her a birthday cake for her birthday, and they had some, and so we checked out the cupcakes to see if they were going to be good, and they weren't.
So, sorry, Sweet Bakery.
Yeah.
Maybe we hit you on a bad day too. But when you're
to
doing
say.
when you're doing one thing right, and you only sell one thing, that one thing has to be good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
let's move on.
all right, so Cookie Monster, little baby Eclair talked about that, and that is also a food truck, and you can find that around the city, but very often at Boston Common, which is the big park at the start of the Freedom Trail, and they sell ice cream, they
Sandwiches.
sell cookies, and then they sell
Ice cream sandwiches, yeah.
yeah.
Big delicious cookies with ice cream squished in the middle.
And they have fun flavors like apple pie. So you've got cinnamon cookies with an apple ice cream. And then you've got, Oreo cookie, which is obvious.
Which, by the way, if you are taking the walk of the Freedom Trail with your family, there is no better way to start than with a big old ice cream sandwich.
Makes everybody happy.
So I think the family all had ice cream. I took bites of everybody's.
No, you were off getting a hot dog. And we were pretty much done by the time he came back.
I got a sausage.
So-
I got this amazing sausage dog from another food cart there.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
So good.
which definitely deserves a shout out, but
I can't remember the name. It was just like some.
it was like a little vendor.
Yeah, vendor guy. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I think we only have one left.
All right, so
on our list.
Clover Food Lab. I mentioned Chicken and Rice Guys, who I loved, but if I was going to name anybody else, it would definitely be Clover Food Lab. And somebody that I work with from Boston recommended Clover Food Lab.
Picking up a toy for the baby. I look weird. Clover Food Lab.
So it
Tell
came
us about
recommended to us.
Yep.
This is a vegetarian-only restaurant, so everything they make is vegetarian. We also have a review of this restaurant on our blog, and basically the owner of it, MIT grad, this location, they have a location right by MIT, and this grad wanted to make people fall in love with vegetables, and boy, do they ever.
So I'm not like a vegetarian guy at all, and so it didn't really appeal to me, but I thought whatever. But it was so good, and everything was so good. They had these like homemade drinks as well. They had like ginger ales and lemonades that they make, and just these vegetarian falafel sandwiches.
Yeah, which is
Everything was just so good.
everything was like all the vegetables were shredded. They offered like this nice crunch paired with like the cucumbers and the carrots, and they were all just oh my gosh. And they fried these chickpeas and put them in this fritter sandwich. I think that's what you ended up getting. They had a sweet potato sandwich.
Oh, so good.
It was seriously one of the best places. I still think about it. And in fact, we ended up flying a lot through Boston because we fly standby and we have to take connections. And every time we go, I think every time, do we have enough time to leave the airport, go to the city, pick up both some Chicken and Rice Guys and some Clover Food Lab and make it back for our next flight?
Well, they have an ambiance to it too. It's
Yeah.
not so a place that has to have good food, but it's also the theming is so important. So they like serve all their foods in like beakers and and scientific
fun. Yeah,
things.
MIT, really
Yeah.
MIT themed.
So it's like they have this moniker. It's kind of like a science lab.
Yeah,
right, that
food science lab.
They're experimenting on these flavors and and it was I was impressed. I
Yeah.
never thought I would like a vegetarian place so much.
Yeah, it was so good.
So I think in that same area though, I think it was around actually near Harvard. That's the last of our list, but you remember that pizza place?
Oh,
we went to?
yeah!
So I went to one of the. Catherine sat outside with the kids. I think it had been a long day, and her blood sugar was low, and it was a rough one. And
Well, there were some people yelling in the restaurant. It was like there were a lot of young,
it was a student,
really
restaurant.
obnoxious kids.
But they had super cheap pizza you would buy there
by the slice.
Yeah. and it took quite a while to get it. I can't remember the name of it though.
Yeah.
But it's right there off of Harvard.
Right by Harvard. It's it's a couple blocks away. You have to walk to it.
But it's like one of those little greasy places, but it's super packed.
Yeah.
We got some slices of pepperoni.
Yeah, we found it on
sad.
Yelp, so you can too. But it's definitely worth it. I just remember, like we took the kids out because there was I think a lot of language, and
Yeah.
I think that was what it ended up being.
I think they had a park nearby that they could play in.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So.
But yeah, so I think that ends our food. Unless we missed anything,
I'm sure we missed a bunch of stuff. Like we ate at some really great places. We didn't get to go to the Oyster House, but that was JFK's favorite place to eat. If you get a chance to eat there, we've heard it's phenomenal.
Those are highlights. So if you notice, probably you'll notice that weren't a lot of like sit down restaurants.
Yeah.
We kind of avoid those many times with the kids. Not all the time, but I think when you're on the trail and when you have younger kids, the thought of sitting down for a long period of time at a restaurant.
Well, I also think we wanted to pack so much into our trip to Boston. Like, we'd been trying to get there for a while and other things had come up. And we just wanted to do so much that's taking the time out to sit down just took time out of all the activities that we wanted to accomplish.
Yeah, and there's so many good things to eat where you don't have to go sit down.
Quality things to eat.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right, so that's our highlight reel for our favorite places to eat in Boston. We'd love to hear if you agree or if we missed a place, because we'll definitely be trying to head back to Boston sometime soon. We thought it was a great world schooling opportunity, especially when these little girls get a little bit bigger and they want to learn more about American history. We always say the best place to learn is the place where it happened. Go to the source.
Yeah. So especially if you're visiting Boston or you're a local, tell us what your favorite places are. Like the Mike's and Modern thing that we heard about was one of the highlights of our trip, just comparing the two, those rivals. But yeah, reach out, contact us at Diapers on a Plane. Subscribe to our mailing list. Hit us up on all the social medias. Wherever you listen to podcasts, please give us a review. But more than that, please check out our other podcasts. They're meant to be heard.
She's going to be upset if you don't.
The baby will cry.
All right, so thanks again. Next week, we are going to be finishing up our trip to Boston. We're going to be talking about our favorite family fun activities, and there's quite a few, and we were excited to do a lot of them. So please listen in next week, and then we'll have some fun stuff.
It's going to be fun.
Just
Goodbye.
See ya.